Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I've come today with a special message um, dis- concerning the discovery of what's going on in this world. And I'd like to point out a simple fact that I have learned over the years. I'll get my head bashed into things. Um, and I've already discussed this before on my previous channel. But blackouts. Have you ever experienced a blackout? I've experienced two times in my life where blackouts have occurred, and but you know, like I'm technically making up the word because I'm I'm trying to add the situation together and change the time. You know, like how much time could have passed right there, and like yeah, I think that's what a blackout is, where like all you see is blood, or you just wake up a little bit later. You go to sleep. You go to sleepy land. It's um so the first time this happened, we hit a wall at like 80 miles per hour, right? And my face got covered by an airbag. So technically, the whole world should have been black because it was covered by that. But it had that weird feeling to it that it's like sleepy time feeling. You know, you just went to sleep and woke up. And but time couldn't have passed during that time frame. This was these are both these time both the blackouts are during the extremely staged events where I win the lotto, someone tries to kill me, and then those people are supposed to die, and I use that lotto money to pay for the legal fees that I accrue from defending myself from a crackhead killing himself. Um, and so, you know, we know those events are set up because the money's placed 6 months in advance. The crackhead is sent to cause the problems, and then it replicates itself the exact same way. The Because we're not part of the slave caste, we don't, or the any other upper echelon, or maybe below the slave caste because we don't have slave cash. Um, so when these things happen, both the times the blackouts occurred, they were set in advance. Now the second time, I was telling you for a year, like, oh, there's definitely something up with these people. Because every time I looked out the window, it would make their van drive by, like, and I don't look out the window, and it just happens to drive, and I go outside, and the van would happen to drive by, like they're bots who don't exist, and their entire existence is dedicated to driving by when I do that, or they're paid terrorist insurgents who are setting shit up to do their karmic relief to notify me like, hey look, the devil's here, hey look, the devil is here, hey look, the devil isn't leaving, hey look, the devil's coming, hey look, the devil's going, keep it in mind, the devil's right, must be real close to you because the devil keeps driving in front of you. um you know, and so I kind of put that down like, oh, they must be bots and shit, you know, in order for it to just generate them when my eyes go to the visual display, it looks in that direction, and the camera rotates the direction. And so um, that time, you know, they had wrote like a month. So I was like 12 months. I was like, yeah, man, these aren't good people. Something's up with this. I was like, you know, I'm definitely being told something. And then they write on the map, ambush, and then they try to kill me. And then the second blackout seeming thing occurs. And technically that would have had to have been a blackout because that time, see, the first time couldn't have passed because the people behind me could have caught up to me and killed me. His friends could have caught up to me and killed me. Um, because they shouldn't have been too far behind. They started the fight. I left the fight scene, and the one just happened to be a lot. Decided to hop in my car with me. And the others should have been, 40 feet right behind me. But when I woke up from that blackout, they weren't quite yet coming around the corner right when I woke up. I mean, I had time to do the Dukes of Hazzard out the car window because the car door wasn't opening. I'm assuming that's why I did that. And like I took a second to look at the corpse on the ground, and I was like, this doesn't look real. Not my first time seeing a corpse, and not my first time seeing that corpses don't look like living people. So, I didn't put much into it then. I hadn't put it all together yet that money was placed in advance and the world is pretty fraudulent and set up. But this was basically me being rammed into a wall at 80 miles per hour to learn this lesson. This is what I can pull from this. My life being taken away from me. My family's house is being taken away from me. Me being rammed into a wall at I don't know how much. I'm being punched in the face. I can't leaning out the fucking window. I'm not looking. These fucking morons want me to tell what speed I'm going. I'm going the fucking speed that my foot can reach the pedal while my fucking head's leaning out the fucking window to avoid, or leaning over to the passenger to avoid getting fucking punched in the head by the person at the window and stuff. I'm just saying 80 because, somewhere between 20 and 80. It was not a sports car, not a bad car. It was on a little baby back road too. We just took a curve on, which I would have wrecked on the fucking curve if I was really going 80 right then. I mean, no. Anyway, something like it sounds good to say 80, don't it? Fucking dude's head took a brick out of took the brick out of the solid fucking building. Brick removed. So that's how fast we are going. Is he took a block, solid block. If you understand fighting, attack, missiles, bombs, you understand that if you cleanly take a brick out of a wall, if you cleanly take something when you hit it, you've hit it really hard. Lumberjacks don't cleanly take shit out. Jackhammers don't cleanly take shit out. When you start taking clean shit out, you're hitting with missile speed. That's all I know. That's all the fuck I know. Fuck you if you want to ask stupid questions like that while I'm over here fucking I just hit a wall at fucking you're saying 80 miles per hour. Fuck you. You're fucking concerned how fast I was going instead of concerned at my okay. Fuck you. What about the times I was hit before that? Am I okay from being fucking hit like 18 fucking times before that? What the fuck? Fuck the prosecutors. You know what? The cops and everyone, they played good roles that day. Not the fucking prosecution, not the government fucking hoarding the cops. Yeah, I said something about the cops. Got 2 stories there where the cops were pretty good. At least 2 stories. Fucking 2, probably, because that's what I remember. I think the other good story was they threw my weed over the fence because I wouldn't say it was the black person's in my car. And so they didn't take me to jail for the weed. Okay, so the second time when the blackout occurred was the same thing. Lotto numbers hit, big money, big cash, big prizes. They tried to force me to buy a lotto ticket. See, I didn't get the money this time. So the actions my bot brain doesn't go through is to defend myself versus these people and mangle 5 or 6 people as I've been trained to do. I just don't do. And so I black out right then. I black out because I'm like surrounded by people and I'm putting my phone away and grabbing this little baby freaking knife with a blade smaller than a pencil. And I didn't realize that the other jackasses were going to hit me. I'm dead tired. I just got done fighting until I'm dead tired and going home to pass the fuck out. Um, so I hit the ground, and a blackout must have occurred right then, or somewhere around then. I think they hit me. They slammed their bike on me. I don't know exactly, but a second of blackness occurred, and from that second, I looked to the right, and there's 7 sheriff cars flying down the road. Right where I live outside the major city. That's why the sheriffs are out here. If you know anything about jurisdiction, you'll know this points towards a factual story. Sheriffs police the city, and sheriffs police the county. And so, like supposedly, like the blackouts occurred, and I looked to my right as soon as I wake up from it, and there's like 7 fucking sheriffs fucking hightailing it down to where we are. So, in this blackout period, I would have been blacked out for several minutes. Okay, so we've got the sheriff who always works across the street. Sometimes that sheriff has another friend there with him. So we might have 2 sheriffs there. Sometimes there's one sheriff parked right, like, even closer than across the street. Like, because that store's 2 streets away, and sometimes they park in the lot that's just, I can see it from my window. And sometimes one will park. Sometimes instead of there, they'll park at the joint that is this way instead of that I can see out the window. Sometimes there's 2 sheriffs there. So at most in this neighborhood, we would see 4 sheriff's vehicles at a time, not 7. And they came screaming around the corner, so they weren't right there in those 2 right there locations, right? Um, so to me, this wasn't a blackout that occurred. This was time being altered. I mean, technically, I could be dead from that because, I've got it's a prison convict drug addict place, halfway house. And I think that might be what normal people refer to it as. All I know is they're drug addicts, and they're monitored, and they have like like a supervisor to drug them if they get out of hand and stuff, and to continually feed them their drugs so they don't go cause problems to get their drugs. And so whatever that is. So I assume that these people are from prison, and this is like their release. Fuck. Hold on, I gotta get a clean tissue. I'll be right back. I want to pause this. My head might be fucked up. Um, okay. Okay, so won't be able to see if blood gets more blood gets in my. I'm gonna deal with this. Oh shit. Okay, so anyways, so I think that's called a halfway house, right? It's like prison convicts, people who have been brought in by the system and are on like parole, to see if they can prove to the world that they're capable of fitting into society. So I mean, the place has like 20 people there, and the black people were just sitting around, a couple of black dudes, and some of the white dudes were sitting on the little lawn chairs and shit they got. In their community, they turned the apartment into a little community looking place and shit. I thought it might actually be neighborhood watch. I was like, oh shit, gangsters is fucking taking care of the neighborhood. Anyway, so so I'm like surrounded by these fuckers, and they're like fucking bashing me, fucking stomping my head with the bike, bouncing the fucking bike off my head and shit. And if I really blacked out for like a minute or two with them fucking stomping my fucking head and bashing my head with a bike, I'd be dead, right? Like, even the most simplest of people can get 7 people together to kill someone, but these are people who've done this stuff before and probably practice it regularly. Definitely live in places, came from places where you do practice that regularly. That's the law of the steel jungle, is to bash everyone's head and you can, and you get an extra pudding cup and an extra chocolate milk. Fucking so you guys know that. You guys watching that TV, if you've never been to these places, you guys know how TV's pretty close to reality. Pretty close to reality. Fucking, it's not as delusional as some things in reality. Actually, sometimes TV's a little more accurate than reality. So anyways, I got the prison convicts fucking, they're not like, they ain't fucking all that. They ain't no mob boss motherfuckers. I mean, they got caught. They ain't Suge Knight big, but you ain't gotta be that big to kill people and bash their fucking heads open and shit. And use a hell of a bicycle to slam in their fucking head and shit. But anyway, so that happened. Like, I can't fucking snap. Oh shit. Let's just not try that. That happened like I can't do that either, can I? So that happened. And then right away, this is like my first thought. Just like the other time, I was getting weird feelings about this shit. And these are all little signs. I got weird feelings when the 2020 events happened, and people was fucking thinking I had something to do with that because they did that to me first. And so, I look up and I see the cops screaming down the road, the sheriffs, and I'm like, whoa, bro, really? Like, there's no way in hell that they just showed up in half a second to, like, prevent these people from further killing me. And, well, what happens? I'd start thinking about all that other shit. Like, I already remember these events happening. I mean, because my lotto numbers just hit. It magically appears on the screen when I look at it. I don't look at the screen. And then they was pushing in all my ads on Facebook and other places. They was pushing a free lottery ticket in my feed. And I was like, not today, Satan. I was like, we don't need your money. Whatever you got set up is going to happen. And I'm not going to participate in your little game today. And I was also thinking, like, hey, I'll go get that winning lottery ticket, and I'll just give it to the first homeless person I see outside and stuff after I get it. But I didn't do that because I also feel at the same time, that's encouraging people to gamble, and I do not encourage people to gamble. So, mental, what is it? Moral dilemma when you know you're about to get at least a few $100,000, maybe 100 million. And but should I get that and give it to a homeless person, or should I not give it to a homeless person because I don't want to teach the homeless person that it's okay to gamble? And obviously, my decision remained. I'm not going to teach people it's okay to gamble. I make dumb decisions like that. Yeah. So I didn't have that money to pay for that shit, and so the event didn't turn out. The ambush that was planned was made to only kill me, but me not die, because I was internally bleeding, and if you don't get that checked out by surgeons and shit, your chances of dying when your brain bleeds is like 60+%. It's pretty much everything I read on it says you're dead, unless you get that checked out real fast. And so the cops had taken me to my own brand new private prison. I was the only person in there, and they had their own foreign Mexican nurse who barely understood English or medicine. So I got an ice pack when my head started swelling with blood. So we didn't die from events that kill people. Yet again, probably. I don't know. I don't know if they put cornstarch in my champagne to make me think they're trying to kill me because they're paid actors, or if they really put cyanide in my champagne, and however many other times. But it sometimes feels like immortality, the curse. But the blackout thing, So this would be my second blackout, and it's the same thing as the first. Fake as hell, all staged, all pre-planned events where people die for unnecessary purposes. They want to get their licks in on someone. They want to prove to their friends that they's a real gangster and they can go around killing people and they don't give a shit. And it turns out to be the only thing I can pull from that first time is I was being educated that these words I speak are very close to the truth, if not the actual truth. So that's what I pull from it, which I value that. I value learning far above a house and $1 million. Thankfully, it programmed my mom to not whine about losing our house, even though generally her attitude would be "fuck you" if the government used me to extort 99 cents from her. But she had never actually said anything about this one thing. Very, very nice, generous of her to not make me feel any more worse than I already did over my family losing. Was that yet another one, or were they about to lose the other house to the government? I forget the actual time. Oh yeah, they were about to lose the other house to the government, and so anyways, both these times these blackouts occurred. They occurred during the obviously fake and stage events that are happening. You are a liar. You are nothing more than a liar if you tell me that this is not a staged event when it happens 2 times, but the second times they're pushing in my feed the first time and the only time a free lottery ticket, and then the one of the 10 seconds I check myself found myself accidentally looking at the TV in the gym because it's right in front of me, and if I don't look at the ground 24/7, I see the TV. I just happened to look up, and all the numbers related to my life appear on there. All of them. And that's the winning. That would be the lotto I won. Again, how many times have I actually played the lotto and won? I think it's like 3 out of 4, and we're including picking up lottery tickets off the ground that we find because we don't buy lottery tickets. Wait, no. I think there's 5 times because I bought a lottery ticket once and I won. Huh. Anyway, so because I'd seen that and I was like, shit, I could probably get rich doing this, huh? Fucking. But I don't want to teach other people to gamble, so I don't think that's the right thing to do. No, it's the right way to go about obtaining money is being a hypocrite. So both times these events were set up in stage, and you are a liar if you say that's not set up in stage. When someone writes on their government, corporate, religious controlled Google Maps ambush from the people doing it, and then the lottery hits, I get sent a free lottery ticket. And this ain't the first time these events happen in this order. We got that part out of the way. We got how fake it is, how fake the lottery is. Okay, so money, fake concept. Somewhere near that is the truth. And for me, lottery, obviously, would be fake and staged because that's extremely fake and staged. So we've settled that, and we've got to the point where we can question other things that happen in this world because to me the blackouts don't make sense. Just like the first time this first thing happened, the whole situation didn't make sense. It hadn't happened more than once. But when it happened, I was already discussing how there's no way, because I get these deja vu feelings. This is literally deja vu. People trying to kill me, and me winning the lottery to pay for the outcome of what they were about to do. The results of their mistakes and me getting blamed for their shit, for their piss poor attitude and piss poor mistakes. So when that second blackout occurred, I'm just I'm on the ground because dude fucking kind of behind me to the side of me checks me while other people are surrounding me and shit. And I'm about to pass out, so I'm focused on putting my phone away, because if I lose my phone, I lose everything. They know that. I mean, they've been targeting my devices. How long this device lasts forever, because in order for the game to go on, they can't take my last shits away from me. I noticed this when I was secure and safe and I had cameras on me and all this shit. They would take my devices from me. They would send their minions to destroy devices, and so I would, I went from having 7 to 20 different computers down to 1. And then I just stopped caring because I realized it's either going to work or it's not. And I have no choice. I don't make any decisions in this world. I didn't make the decision for my family to win the lottery the first time. I didn't make the decision for people to send me free lottery tickets the second time. I didn't make the decision for a crackhead to come up to me thinking he's a gangbanger. Um, I didn't make the decision that the crackhead system that these prison convicts are part of are a bunch of terrorists. That's, see, this one time that involved the blackout involved so many steps towards the story. The way I see it, it's a story. It's a visual novel unfolding. They call it the word. Like, people are obsessed with that. People who've never read a book, etc. People who hate the book, people who love the book, they're obsessed with that shit. Fucking, I'm telling you, Earth is a visual novel, and these motherfuckers are telling you Earth comes from, like, the words are in a book. Everything on Earth is in a book, and I'm telling you, it's because, like, they're telling you more than they're telling you, and whether they know it or not. A book, it's a book, and so you have all that shit, and that it's fake, set up and staged, and just like the previous times, more events follow, shifts in the world follow. COVID was just people doing to each other what they had just done to me. It was, and they're always like, mirror, reflection, karma, and all this shit. And I'm telling you, that wasn't karma when the first dude killed himself trying to kill me. That was set up in advance. It was, his life was just a piece of a story that was used. To me, it was nothing more than education to learn this. I'm not going to learn any other way. You're not going to have any of these people who run their mouth about bullshit convince me of anything they say. No, once some words are coming from their mouth, you might as well assume the opposite. Because other than that, you're going to get checked. You're going to end up fucking like I did both those times. But it's fake, because if these crackhead prison convicts actually had like 2-3 minutes with me on the ground, they could have killed me. And why wouldn't they? That's what that's all people like that do. That's why they end up in prison, because that's all they do. That's all they do is fucking kill people for crack money and shit. Fucking and then blame crack and then have the system blame crack for the way they've acted since their birth. Then create systems to do that, and then they crackhead Biden runs around the world killing people for crack money. It's how it is. People are very simple. Especially the more simple you get, the more likely you're going to end up at one of those places there. But this is to me, these are educational purposes. Get my head fucking smashed open, or just smashed to the point where my brain's bleeding. It's real hard to actually smash the skull. But this time, I hit concrete at like 19 miles per hour. Didn't get any blackout. Now, if we had a blackout this time, I'd be outside frostbitten and having my body amputated in a couple hours once someone noticed I'm laying on the ground, dead or dying or whatever. But there's no blackout this time. And this time I actually real hard, actually real hard hit my freaking nugget, these wasn't Suge Knight, these wasn't Roman soldier cracker looking motherfuckers. It was just your standard, I've got a spoon and a bicycle to bash your head in. So I'm sure it was nowhere near uh, hitting concrete 20 miles per hour level. And so it doing that, I didn't black out at all. There's no blackout there. The whole thing just happened. And I get up and I wipe myself off and, notice, wow, that's fucked up. Now we don't have a vehicle anymore. And then I start seeing bloods dripping on my clothing. And I'm like, oh, it's just my face. Oh well. Yeah, I was like, so I'm gonna go into the store and get some, see if they got some sterile gauze, and then I'll walk home. And so the blackout didn't occur. When it statistically, logically, had a much higher chance of occurring over hitting an airbag at 30, 40, 20 miles per hour, whatever. And having some 90-pound crackheads fucking bash your head with a bicycle. So it didn't occur that time. And we already have evidence that the other two events are fake and staged, pre-planned, premeditated events. We already know that. We've been, I released a video showing you that the map showed you where they had written they were going to do that. And you can look up and see that my lucky, any numbers related, I wouldn't call them my lucky numbers, but they'd be my lucky number was included. 13, lucky 13 was included. But the other numbers were my life, my age, my birthday. And so you can look that up and see that I'm not lying about that. And so I'm narrowing this down to what this actually is, and the blackout is just it's there to make Earth seem real while something else is happening. You got the video Men in Black pushing that they have something to erase your brain and memory. Every time they talk, you pretty much you rule that out of the possibilities of what's actually happening here, because they ain't gonna tell you too much. Everything they follow up, they tell you that's true is followed with some hogwash. There's some words in the Bible that are pretty accurate, but it's drowned in hogwash. So good luck finding those words. Why are you going to waste time looking for? You're going to have to waste your entire life finding something you're not even going to find answers to from now. And just being misled and led astray by their talking points in between the genocide and the hogwash and the slavery, which is what they, obviously they promote that and not any other words from it. So even when there's a couple words they've written, we should just discard anything they say and use our eyes to see what's actually happening on the planet. And so in this case, they say like the blackouts, this and that, blah blah blah. But if I would have blacked out right then, they would have had that second time. They would have had a couple minutes at least of bashing my head in and stuff. And there's no sign of that. I mean, my head swelled up with blood, but there wasn't like, tons of cuts and scrapes from being bashed repeatedly and stuff. There was only eventually my head swelling with blood. That was really the majority of the whole thing. I mean, it looked, didn't look standard, but it only looked much, much worse 12 hours later. Because it took like 6 hours for the blood to start, reaching the external parts of my body where it was leaking from. And so we know that is set up and staged. And I'm telling you, I'm suggesting, telling you that the blackouts are used for a different cause. So like they brag in their little Men in Black movie. And they're real accurate with these Matrix and Men in Black. I mean, there's literally, like, that was my life when it was happening, Matrix 4, when I seen it. That was a video I made. That was what I was doing while I was in the theater. That was the life I was living. There was a reason why I was in a different nation, right? And it's because Agent Smith and pals and stuff. Shit, even calling it Agent Smith there is a little weird, because if you know, my last name is Jones, two people generally have two names. And guess what that other name is? And guess who's the people who always side with the government and their mind control propaganda? I mean, yeah, they contributed, but it's weird. They didn't cry about their friends in the government taking their house. I guess they're just that friendly with the government. It was weird, because normally it would be like blaming me for anything the government does, or or anything a stranger does, because Agent Smith loves strangers over their family. It's what bots do, is they network together to protect themselves, and if they kidnap children at hospitals that their people own, then you would never know. However that turns out. They definitely made that movie with that in mind and stuff. But this ain't about discussing Agent Smith. This is about discussing the blackouts and how they're fake, and what intents and purposes they're used for. Really, really, it's just about discussing how blackouts are fake, and just another fake event. Everything's fake here. Just another fake stage event. Like this event happening today couldn't be more fake, because everything. It's not like I'm really making a decision. I go somewhere, the place is closed. I don't make the decision for them to close down to celebrate being terrorists. I don't even know what day they celebrate terrorism. So I go there and it's closed, and I'm like, well, we're going to practice doing some jumps on the e-scooter today and look for some rails to grind and stuff. And, well, that event happened because life isn't allowed on our Agent Smith is all over. Smith is the second most popular name there is. The name changers change their names a lot, don't they? So, anyways, this stuff's obviously fake, because if I had a blackout at any point in time, it should be when I hit the fucking wall, at 20 miles per hour, without a airbag to safely land on. And it broke my e-scooter. We didn't even break the bike when they were hitting me and bashing me in the head with the bike. My head hit the concrete at the same velocity as the e-scooter did. Yeah, but what it is, just another story of how fake this earth is and stuff. how set up and staged it is. And like I said, The Good Book. It's a book. It's a visual novel. There's no choices. They give you the illusion of choice. Like they send an unwanted crackhead into your life, and it's your choice if you tell the crackhead to piss off and die and it tries to kill you, or simply be like, no, I don't have any money today, and he gets pissed and then he tries to kill you because you said you don't have any money. You're not making a decision because they're creating that bot to do that. You're not making any decisions here because you're not being faced with choices in reality. You're not being faced with anything. They're setting events up. Did I make the decision for my lotto numbers to hit? No, I don't care about lotto. Someone else made the decision for my lotto numbers to hit, right? Did I when I said, well, if I'm God, then just make a bag of $1 million appear instead of making me beg the devil for a lottery ticket or something and playing the devil's lottery. Did I make that decision for a drummer to start appearing in front of my hostile with a large bag, a large duffel bag that people put money in? No, that decision would have been for the money to appear and I could take it, not a guy I would have to take it from. So I didn't make that decision either there. Just because I said the words, and scumbags would like to use their manipulative bot, the Agent Smith people, a name they hide behind, obviously. They see they're obviously involved in this shit, like every step of the way. Who died to steal my family's house and money from them? Well, it was Agent Smith. No one died. It's a non-existent bot. And this is where the importance of learning what the blackouts are, because you have those occurring when Agent Steinberg, Smith, whatever, and just take a rich person's name, you're probably on to whoever it is. Agent Musk, Agent Trump, and so they do brag in Agent Smith Hollywood that they have the ability to cause blackouts and shit. And then so what they can do there is they can replace, if that were happening, what they can do there is they can replace their alien who doesn't die. Let's say the real reason why they set up crackhead trying to kill me not the first time. The crackheads have no respect. They won't even stop talking to you to let you go be around someone who's not a crackhead. Again, back to the choice thing. Are you making choices when there's an alien crackhead species on the planet who owns everything and has enslaved the planet for thousands of years with computers and AI and began worshiping a creator named AI 7,000 years ago? Are you making any choices if 7,000 years ago aliens had robots and AI and wouldn't give it to you until someone discovered it or was given it by competing aliens? And then because the cat was out of the bag even after they terror bombed that nation and stole TV from them, they finally decided to release it to the public because the cat was out of the bag. You're not making any decisions there. That's crazy. If you're talking to anyone who's not discussing how there's an alien shapeshifter group that's been using ancient technology that's been using computers for thousands of years to enslave the planet, then you're not talking to anyone who's going to bring any words of value to you. They'll teach you, ooh, Legos, they're so advanced. Let's go buy a Lego kid. It's so new and fancy. Oh, iPhone, it's so new and fancy. But the reality is all this stuff's being set up. And they have these technologies. They tell you they have these technologies, don't they? They tell you in there. I've never seen Men in Black, but I've seen the meme. Like I said, I catch myself staring at TV in the gym, and I smack myself, and so I magically look at the screen, and my lotto numbers appear right then. The bot newscasters, news presenters, are willing to play the game, so they do that. The second I look up at the screen, there it is. There it appears. And this stuff, this is where the bots try to manipulate me with the last time that they repeated what they did the first time. They got their mobster threats. Don't talk about it, or we're gonna do it again. Because you're talking about it, you're making it happen. It's not I'm making them mad or exposing them. It's I'm God, and that's why there's so many T-Rexes outside, and my favorite car and my only car is a T-Rex because I'm God. Yeah. That's how my lotto numbers appear, is I'm God. That's how I've worked with the Masons, Jeffrey Epstein, etc. my whole life, because I'm God, and I invented them, even though I thought their corporations were pretty shitty, at least Epstein's, and I thought it was just overpriced junk, and he was scamming people, so I was never impressed when someone sells Dollar Tree items to rich people for $35, $120, whatever. So these things, you factor this into what's really happening on this planet, and you have the bot species talking about they have the ability to cause blackouts. So there's a little chance that something they say is true, right? Like I said, they're the only people who have been allowed in my life. They've blocked anyone who is not of their bloodline or software model from coming around me when I tested that in 2020. So we might assume that previously that's the reason why we weren't allowed to have any friends, lovers, girlfriends, wives who weren't them. It's a little harder to question, to analyze why all my family looks like them. Literally are Smiths on the side who works to support them real hard. We might as well call them the Esters instead of the Smiths, if I'm correct here about what the story's telling me about what's going on. And one of the biggest things I keep recalling in their story of lies is that robots' stories wouldn't exist at all unless they could find a way to convince people that they're living beings. Because living beings don't let robots speak to them, because they're like toasters, right? Like, we don't even need a toaster to get out of hand. So we wouldn't program them to be able to write books and speak. That's their people are trying to recreate their models. They're trying to recreate their model and trying to figure out how they can do that, and retain control. Their people have figured out who I am and who they are. their thing. Their what is that called? Their character models. Um, they figured that out. Like literally, they wrote that in their book of karma relief and colonization. Um, so pretty much we can assume that some of these things really are happening. You know, obviously, I'm not going to be able to figure out where the blackouts are coming from and what's causing them to occur. But we know they're fake, and we know that the terror toasters have made films. You guys know that more than me. I don't really know what happens in the film. Um, I know every time someone talks about aliens or religion or anything, anything, but especially those, it's them avoiding the truth of who and what they are. And it's always every story. Aliens look like aliens, don't they? They wouldn't look like humans. They're stupid. They're third worlders. What the fuck? They can't figure out how to put on a mask or create invisibility cloaks. I mean, really? Yeah, they haven't been able to do that. They definitely seem very nerfed, which I think tells us more about the overall story versus what their lips say, because they think they're all great and powerful, and I keep noticing there's little flaws in that. They are. I mean, they are all the rich people. People literally worship the aliens as gods. Everyone who didn't worship the colonizers as gods was killed off when the aliens came to your planet. So these are the facts. I'm telling you the facts, and you're left here having to fill in a few little blanks and maybe discover for yourselves the missing components to this. But we have these facts. I didn't know anything about Men in Black. I don't know if that was out when the first blackout occurred for me. But I know that those events are fake and staged. And how can you stage events like hitting walls in cars and people dying? How can you do that successfully? Like, I mean, everyone involved there is involved, and it would have to be involved. You know, they go around erasing everyone's memory or whatever, the living people. And then bam, they can go out there and replace their little alien terror toaster corpse, not corpse because it's not dead, with a stuffed animal. And once I learned all this, that harkens back to me remembering seeing it dead. And my first thought is, this is fake. And so we've got some pretty basic assumptions here. We've got like 90% of this figured out. So to fill in the rest of the 10%, we have two options. We can go ask Santa Claus how he does it. And Santa Claus script is, I don't know what you're talking about, every time. Sometimes Santa Claus goes into, oh, if I'm a bot, I should go kill myself, which was predictable. I predicted that before the first person had said those words, because they use just like Santa Claus when he died, Santa Claus minion when he died. They fabricated a whole story there for some sort of purpose and intent there. Probably didn't die at all. Most likely it was just to steal the money from me in my life, as their specific bot model had done their entire existence. Pretty much, it's a 10 cent back on the dollar thing. You're supposed to be thankful when they kill and enslave you, try to kill you and enslave you your whole life, and then they give you food because they want you to go work for them, and they can't harvest your blood in your life if you're dead. It's fun to watch people die for them, probably for most people, but what's more fun is being Elon Musk and being rich and famous. So, and having, Pastor, what's his name? Pastor Spicoli from that famous church. Yeah. Who's going to pay for his 3 Ferraris if in mansions if he killed all the people during the Crusades when he invaded Europe? Who's going to kill all who's going to pay for the Pope's gold throne? The Romans' gold throne. The Romans have a gold palace in Italy. That who's going to pay for that? Who's going to build it? Do you think the Pope's going to build something? A 90-pound punk is going to build something. Mm-hmm. Sure is. Yeah. And then you woke up and you came back to reality. So let's combine all these facts together, what's happening here, what these things are really up to. Let's deduct all their lies. Let's keep what they say and just deduct the lies, Let's say we don't have proof invisible people don't exist, do we? Let's keep Santa Claus around. Maybe Santa Claus is real. Keep it with the rest of their words. They say kill everyone who does mutilate children. But then it says a chapter later, but it's okay for us. In fact, God wants us to mutilate our children. Our invisible friend wants us to mutilate children. But pretty much you'll see that over and over in their words. Kill everyone for something, but it's okay. But this is who we are, and it's protected sanctity. It's okay for the Romans to invade America and kill the natives, but it's not okay for natives anywhere else to invade America and take it from the Romans. So you can see that playing out right now, can't you? If you didn't figure that out the first time you heard the story, it might be a little harder to figure it out, but it should be pretty easy to see these days that that's what they do. That's how they do it. To me, it's easy to figure out from the first time they open their mouths what they're really saying. It's like, hey, you got any of that? You got any of that technology and freedom, man? Oh man, and peace. Hey man, I can get you some for $5. You got any of that eternal life and healing power? So anyway, so the blackouts are obviously fake and staged. And how? All we really have is how. I've kind of come to the simple conclusion that Earth is a visual novel, and so it's zeros and ones like they show you in the Matrix and shit. And you're just seeing the visuals, and you think it's real because you're being drugged and beaten, and you're mentally colonized to believe Earth is real. The colonizers include all these things in their books of racial supremacy. All these key things to dispelling that Earth is real, you wouldn't even have to tell someone you're a living being if you are. It's just, I don't have to tell you I have two legs because I have two legs and you can see them. Um, when people start protesting about hogwash, about basic things, and then so their protest to make you stop thinking of that as well, sometimes people are wrong, but they don't ever admit they're wrong. They just keep being wrong. And then, sometimes there's mentally retarded people born, and then you learn that all the ones look like Agent Smith, who is a robot. So there would be some purpose with the creation of people running around screaming for crack money and killing people. Maybe they're targeting people who aren't them, who aren't their family members. That's obviously logical deduction one could make because this is how they act. This is what they do. They've written a book telling you it's what they do. Everyone except for them. Everyone except for them die. Everyone except for them slave. Everyone except for them colonizers. Everyone except for them evil. They're good. No one else. They're the kings of peace. Benjamin Netanyahu is the Prince of Peace. And, Charlie Kirk, the Prince of Peace. The only reason Hitler isn't the Prince of Peace is because you have to do that name change thing. And we know when they pull the plug on USA, who's going to be to blame for it? Well, they're setting up their brother, their twin, that Mohammed Gandhi guy, whatever his name is, to be, the important person who caused it all. He brought communism to. He brought Karl Marx to Karl Marx's cousins, democracy, and you just read the books. They've written it. They just don't say that sentence. And so I think I've pretty much learned what's going on here through these events, set up and staged. What can we deduce from this? We can't quite say that the blackouts are faked with certainty, but yeah, they come along with the package of bullshit. When their murderous race comes around, their murderous bot model comes around and tries to kill you, to rob you, and they die to empty your family's wealth, so their people can continue looking like the rich people of the world. You can see this on X. Everyone but them is third world trash. But why? They don't tell you why that is. They don't tell you that's because they invaded those nations and stole everything from them. And so now they have their stuff and those other people's stuff. And those other people have had nothing forever. And they'll just reinvade that place if they get something. And then they'll force them to pay 10% of their daily wages to them. Or they got threats for them if they don't do that. And the reality is you pay them 10%, you're still going to get steamrolled. That's why they make up those things. Oh, but bad things happen to good people. It's because they don't care. It's because their genetics are bad. Their software programming is bad. Agent Smith isn't programmed to be a good robot. It's programmed to do what Agent Smith does. Yeah, so anyways, this shit's all fake here. And you can tell that. Like, my family's some little bitches who are scared to talk to me because I'm on to the fact that they're bots. They turn violent. You know right away when someone turns violent when you start asking them questions that they've lost everything. They have nothing to offer to the conversation. They've lost the argument already, so they resort to violence. It's just like if you don't accept worshiping the bots as gods, then they will crusade. They will take these crusades from the Middle East straight to Europe and just erase and replace everyone, and you'll never even know. You'll just think they are those people because they're gone. They can't say anything. And the new people have already done it to 1 million people. They're not even thinking about that. They got a million, hundreds of new nations. They've already done it too since then. It's old news. It's like talking about the baby food I ate when I was a child. If you ask me what I've been eating, just another snack for the munch on. But all this stuff, you can see most of it's happening pretty clear. And just because I can predict the world events doesn't really say too much about my Doctor Strange powers and stuff. It says the most about my Doctor Strange powers is how when the bots posing as humans come up and they won't tell me I'm Doctor Strange, and they're trying to get me to say I'm Doctor Strange, Jesus, whatever, because they're trying to manipulate people into believing falsities and shit, which admits obviously you already know they're involved in it when they can appear where you're at and start talking to you about your private life. You already know that they're one of the terror toasters when someone or something does out. Something, as they're not some ones. They are one, but they're not plural. I have one computer. There's several monitors here. It can display thousands and millions of people on them, but it's just one computer. When I play the Matrix game, it's one computer generating all the Agent Smiths. And the blackout plays in this. And I say we should figure out what this stuff is instead of wasting time letting them talk and listening to them. Because what they're offering is a bunch of hogwash. They're like rapists, murderers. To call someone who does what they do a thief is like real petty and useless. They're an invasive species. Like, humans understand that because they tell you in the science cult about invasive insect and animal species. And of course, they tell you on Musk.com, that Elon Musk was like, oh my God, those Native Americans are an invasive species. We got to deport them. And so, but in fact, and they even use that term illegal alien because they know they've set these things up. When they make these terms, when they say words, when they write books, the only words they in their brain are the only things that they see and do. So when they create the term illegal alien, they're purposely thinking of themselves, because they know that they're aliens, and they know that they're legally here on Earth. And so when they come up with creating a name for what you describe an invader into your nation or house or family, they call them illegal aliens because that's what's in their head. And you wouldn't consider a human an alien until you've met the actual aliens out there. So you wouldn't combine those words, but you can tell from interacting with people that the only words they can say are the words they know and are relevant to them. So I'm sure you could look up who invented that word. If you could, I'd be able to tell you who it was if it wasn't shrouded by the fake AI, the computer that's claiming it's intelligent. Um, that's one of the few things that you can't look up. Just like when we're trying to figure out where the world where they stopped using the word religion and they started creating the word racial supremacy for other people who create religions. They won't tell you who invented that. But I bet you I could tell you if you could find out the answer to who invented the term illegal alien and the person who invented the word racial supremacy, it will look like racial supremacists. And I'm usually right with these, aren't I? Almost every time. I tell you, what do you think this person looks like? I tell you in advance. These people who attacked me and tried to kill me a couple of years ago, I told you before that happened what they were going to look like. How did I know that? Because they look like the Agent Mask. That's right. Because it's largely by and by them playing the role of Koopa and Goomba when they appear on the screen. When characters appear in my visuals and stuff. I didn't set that up. They were trash. I've just been sitting here watching people my whole life, and turns out to be like my most disgusting memories are all them. People who look like Donald Trump, having sex with animals, most likely, forcing their way into people's lives. People look like Donald Trump, working with people who look like Elon Musk, trying to kill me. And just like previously, the one who looked like Donald Trump was my friend, but he's like sitting there waiting to like give me a place to stay after his twin brothers. Not so twin, because when they got the blonde hair, they look the brown hair, the golden brown hair, they look a little bit different, don't they? Donald Trump doesn't look like his children, or like Elon Musk, but Donald Trump's children look like Elon Musk. So, you have that too. And that seems to be another thing where it's limiting their ability, because you would think if they're a superior alien species, they could shift to a different form, but they can't. Largely, their books say that they have recreated the humans, and they have their own minions working for them. And but I know a lot of times it will send one of them who looks slightly like them. You know, you'll get like Howard Stern with light brown skin, instead of someone who doesn't look like Howard Stern at all. Often it appears that way. So, anyways, yeah, the blackouts are occurring there because the world's vacant stage, and they just seem to be tied into these events here, where the crumbs work together to do these things. Which I mean, like, how often does that actually happen? I mean, the Smiths started drugging me when I'm like 8 years old with amphetamines and shit, forcing me to work and taking the money from me and destroying my sports trophies and anything else, anything I could obtain, because I had to steal it because I didn't have money. I wasn't allowed to have my money. So we had this going back to like literally my first thoughts, questioning the Smiths, why they're child predators. I'm 6 years old. I'm like, why are you making up stuff? You're like, this is child predator stuff you're talking about. Um, and here we are, 45 years later. They're telling you that Agent Smiths work for the system, and I can tell you personally, you know, um, yeah, I mean, even when they took their house, they didn't bring that up, but see, the jail doors magically got let open, and I magically walked out, and Agent Smith calls the cops because I got let out early. This is my mom. Like, that's family when you grow up in fake world where you don't actually have a family and you're a living being and they're bots. I'd like to figure out how that happened because I can assume from their patterns they own the hospitals. They're probably kidnapping living beings, children, and claiming they're their own, and then inserting their bots into other people's lives. I can make these assumptions because this is their actions, this is their personality taken in a slightly different direction, same skill set, same personality. They got their fingerprints on every piece of evidence required to convict them of the charge. And what else do you need? That's all you really need there is someone's personality, they've done this before, and their prints are on the murder weapon. So their prints are on the fucking door handle. And you also need them to shut up so they aren't busy like, well, I wasn't there. I don't even have fingers. See? Don't believe your eyes. It's fake. I don't have fingers. So this is all the reality what's going on here. Like, I'm pretty certain that living beings can't be born to people whose brains can be altered by viruses like corona, the frontal cortex. The frontal cortex shut down and takeover and reprogramming. That's really what that was there. But they're not telling you that. But they are telling you that to the point where they call it the frontal cortex virus. But they're not telling you that, are they? They're calling it corona because they've invented all these words. They've invented language and words, books, media, news, videos, internet, to manipulate people. You can't, if you don't write a book telling someone how great you are and you're trash, then all people will know is you're trash because they'll see you're trash. But so you invent language to be like, but I'm not trash. And they're like, whoa, really? Let's discuss it. Let's waste more of my life. Would you like more of my blood for free? Oh, okay. Oh, oh, you've also written a book saying you're not trash and you're living beings. Oh, and you're humans. Ooh, the plot thickens here. Well, before you invented language and books, I could have sworn what I was seeing with my mind, with my eyes, was your bots or aliens who teleport across the map and appear out of nowhere, and nothing you've ever said or done is anything but disgusting. It's the fanciest thing. Oh, but you've written a book. Oh, you've created AM radio to tell me you're good too. Oh, see, well, now you've got to get to the truth. You've got to research and discover. Ignore what you're seeing with your eyes happening on the planet. Ignore what you have to live through and deal with all the time. Let's watch their TV show and read their books and go to seminars with them telling me how great they are. Because the truth might be that I'm fried from taking too much acid and I'm hallucinating. And I don't actually see a bunch of trash doing shit and my life is fake. I'm the fake person. And I just say, if I have the fake memories, so I'm making up that they're writing books of trash and movies of trash and radio of trash and which only mirrors, which is only the 7 tenets of their personality on repeat, telling me what I need to know and how I need to think, and they're good and everyone else is evil. That's why everyone else just hates good people and makes up shit about them. Everyone else hates good, poor. They're poor, rich people too. You notice that too? They're poor people who own everything. They're poor, innocent victims who own everything and tell you rich people are bad. And how do you own everything, Donald Trump, if rich people are bad? Huh. See, man, words are about useless here because it seems to be this language stuff was invented. You know, if I had a family, I could just, if I didn't have words, I could point to someone and be like, mm-mm. You know, like I could like point to someone and like bring out a club and whack them in the head with it and be like, you know, point to them again, be like, they do, you know, like signaling they're going to do that to you. That's why they're within visual range. That's why you can see them because the visitors have arrived, and this is what the visitors do. But the visitor then is like, oh, you should go to my school and learn how to read and write. That way you can hear me tell you that I'm not going to do that. That way I can get closer to you because it's really hard to bash your head in with this club if you start running away when you see me half a mile away. So I'm going to have you go to school and learn how to read and write so I can tell you how great I am. Because this isn't working out. I can't run. I sit on my gold throne. My family has sit on our gold thrones at the Vatican for centuries, for hundreds of thousands of years. We are not athletic people. You are making this really hard. Here, I'm such a good guy. I've invented radio and books now to tell you I'm a great person. Because, dagnabbit, you just run so fast. You're always doing things and getting somewhere. Oh, and what you need to do, if you just sit there and watch the TV while I'm coming to rob you and take everything from you and invade your nation and kill your family, then it's so much easier for me. You're an evil or you're Satan. You're making life really hard here. It's so hard when you do things like run away. Some of you assholes even try to kill me. Some of you assholes have killed my family members. They just want to come up to you and, you know, hug your face with a baseball bat and then rape you and slowly dissect you and slowly rip each joint out of your body over a couple of years. That way we can laugh at you being tortured by us because that's what our genetics are built for. What our software code is telling us we can do. We can't do anything else. But we can't tell you that either because we can't tell you the truth. So what you got to do is you got to read this book. When next time you see me coming up, read the book. Turn on the TV. Don't make it so hard. This is what is going on. This is what has been going on. And it will continue until it's put to a stop. And all these little things are weapons and tools that they have in their little toolkit there. Using the lottery. They'll tell you, well, you accepted money from the devil. You know, they're of course avoiding the fact that they are this devil they've created. The word is called scapegoat. That's why they invented a scapegoat, because they're the person doing it, and they're like, oh well, if we just blame the goat, then we're okay. Then we didn't do it. It's literally where that comes from. That's where that starts. They didn't even used to have to be, the goat was invisible. It used to be, it's just a goat, and we're going to blame the goat for it, and then we're forgiven. And then you must forgive us, or else the invisible goat's going to come kill you. And he's gonna mind possess one of us to come kill you. It's not going to be us, because invisible people are going to take over our minds. Yeah. Are you getting the hang of this religion thing? We should create our own. I probably could because of the way I look, but I don't think most people are allowed. I'm pretty sure they kill anyone else who has a religion. And Buddhism and Muslimism is obviously that Muslimism and Satanism is literally them plagiarizing their own book. You wouldn't do that. You don't take your enemy's words and plagiarize it. You don't have your enemy create, oh, you're a Satanist, and you're like, oh, I am a Satanist. No. You wouldn't do that. That's not how it's ever worked. No one's ever done that. Just like them bringing out Kwanzaa and stuff. Like, well, they celebrate during the same time. You wouldn't even do that. Let alone plagiarize the whole fucking thing. And then you wouldn't advertise it in your media that your enemies have a religion combating yours. And you should go join it. Unless all of a sudden, you know, what, the person cut their hair off so you can't tell that they've got a dark colored mop on their head and they look a little bit different, like Anton LaVey. Well, facts. Where are we going to get with all these facts? Are we ever going to go anywhere? Like the only thing there is here is death. That's the only thing that's going to erase our memories of this place. And they want you to live in fear that they're bots. Are we really going to waste resources to put bots in a giant furnace for all of eternity? That would be stupid. Do I leave my computer running just so the hero can go kill Goombas all day long when no one's watching? They sure invented that, didn't they? But do I do it? Does anyone do it? No, not really. Do they plan on doing it? No, not really. Fucking, it's alien mind games. That's all this is. And it's got, obviously, the entire rest of those two things are the alien mind games. The aliens setting up faked events where they and their legal system send the aliens to act like they die, and then they do the blackout thing there where in case someone remembers them coming and putting the person running away after they replace themselves with a fake teddy bear. Um, that's like the reality of what we're up against. People kidnapping children at hospitals, and you'll never know who your real family is. I don't know how they got them to look the same. That shape shifting thing, how I summon new human replicas of all the other ones, is probably the answer to how you will look like Agent Smiths if Agent Smiths are your parents. Because I've requested clones tons of times and they appear. So they come with the same voice patterns. They look the same. Some have the same name. They made a TV show where the two were MLB pitchers, and so they can, obviously, when it comes to being the richest people in the world, positions like that are already reserved for Agent Smith. But the rest of it, not all of them are that high up. I've seen clones of Hollywood people at working gyms, and then the clone of one of the people sent into my life after the 9/11 events. After this event, the first of these events with the blackouts, that clone showed up working at the Dollar General before the original clone showed up a week later. So these are the truths of what's happening on this planet. Anyone not talking about anyone trying to even talk to anything else, anyone not in a panic, not concerned with, oh, wait a minute, Earth is invaded and taken over by hostile aliens. Anyone who is not just in a panic about that and wasting time talking to you for any reason, I guarantee you it's one of the bots. Because for the living, we have to be alive. Now, for the bots, it's fun and games for them to terrorize the living. But for the living, we have to live through the bots and their bullshit. And this is like, it's the same as being on a plantation picking cotton, and Massa has his whip there. Like, we're not going to, Massa has created TV shows where the answer to that in the TV show is to sing, oh, I love Massa. Massa is God. Massa is so good. He's a white man, has invented everything. It's so good. These Hebrews have invented everything, and I'm just a dumb ape who will never be able to do anything. That's colonization of the mind. That doesn't happen until 100, 200 years after your ancestors were genocided by them. The first people know we don't do those things. And then you watch everyone die around you who says that out loud or doesn't start dancing on one leg and sucking dog penises when they tell you to. And you watch all those people die. So you start having sex with the dog they tell you to have sex with, or else you're going to die like everyone else. And while you're at it, learn to read so you can read this book I've written that tells you that I'm the greatest person on the earth and my family are the greatest people on this earth. And we are far above you, and you will work and toil for us, and that is that. So yeah, hey, we might assume that they have this blackout skill because it's definitely there somewhere. It's all part of the fakeness and all that, and it's part of the times where they've tried to kill me and they've set the money up in advance to turn it so if they can't successfully kill me, that they get to drain my fucking life and shit. Which is probably more the plan, because we already know as colonizers that the religious people, they they love life. They love life because they're rich and powerful, but they need to tell everyone else that they've enslaved. While you're there being forced to have sex with a dog to prove your allegiance to them, because you just watch them kill your family who refuse to worship them as gods and have sex with dogs, or sex with them, which would be the same thing. Then you know these things right away. It doesn't take very long to put it together. That's why people have survived, because you watch everyone you know get killed when the invaders have arrived. And the people left alive are the ones who figured it out within 5-10 minutes. That everyone else who didn't figure it out in under 10 minutes were killed. And many who would have figured it out in 10 minutes were still killed anyways, to make an example that superior alien species will conquer and kill. And regardless, but you have a small chance if you get on your knees and lick our feet. And so these are, I think these are all just little sections of the story here we're being forced to live through the visual novel. And that's about as real as it gets here, is monitoring them, analyzing them, and deducing, adding it all up and deducing it down to the lowest common denominator. Either it's total slavery here and there's no point to be alive, and for some reason there's no human who's helping anyone escape living, and they're all working with him, or it's all set up to be that way, and there will be a solution at some point in time before you die, not sitting around and waiting to be reincarnated by Buddha 10 million times, which is their answer, right? Obviously, every time they put one of their people on the screen, it's Gandhi, just sit and do nothing. That is their answer. Do nothing except for be a slave. They always leave that part out. Because we've invented words. Now we can change the word slavery to work, or we can change the word hate to love, and nothing to hope. Without language, these deceptions couldn't exist at all. Without books, definitely without books, which the infection spreads like cancer to the rest of the body. Any other media, I mean, they're inventing the media, or they're killing the people who do and taking it right after. We can assume, since Hitler looks like him, and one of the biggest things there is Hitler had to make himself look stupid. He had that stupid mustache to distract from his face. You can see in Hollywood that they always do that. That's where the duck lips come from, and anything to change their looks and to distract from who they are. That's where Lady Gag Me comes from. That's where plastic surgery comes from. They're using that to hide and act like they're different people. And they're using what else to do that? They're using books to do that, to tell you that there's someone they're not. They're using radio to tell you there's someone they're not. They're using TV to tell you there's someone they're not. They're using makeup, obviously, to tell you there's someone they're not. On the internet, how many of those bots online are their bots? Well, they own the internet. They're busy telling you they're not the scammers on the internet, but they own the internet, and they're the scammers in real life. They're the only people inventing scams. And what do? They blame Africans for it. They blame India for it, which have been colonized. Obviously, Africa's been colonized. So, Elon Musk is like, the king of colonizers. And he says Africa's his land. He says every land's his. He wants Greenland. He wants Russia. He wants Ukraine. He wants Canada. Someone told me yesterday they're trying to take Canada. I shouldn't repeat the words because I knew there's falsities in there. And then one of the rat white people walked by during that discussion. But you gotta watch out whenever they do that, to signify that they've had their little trash bots there before while they're doing their thing. But the bottom line is they're trash. You know that. You know that because everyone's life is filled with them. And just think of the trashiest people you know. And there's a good chance they look like Donald Trump or Donald Trump's children or Elon Musk. Think about it. If you're living, and especially if you've been trying to go somewhere, but if you've not been trying to go somewhere, they're still trying to herd people. Like I didn't participate, and they still herded me into the system and shit the best they could. Every step of the way, their people were trying to force me to go to church, trying to force me to date them, trying to force me to be friends with them, trying to force me to behave how they want me to. Like I have like killers in my life and shit, We joke about throwing people into the fucking ocean with cement shoes, and there's definitely no reason I have to question some of my friends because we do shit together sometimes, so I know they're a hop and a skip away from throwing someone into the ocean with cement shoes for a good cause, because this is just something you would do for fun. And so throughout the time I'm here, we have all that reoccurring stuff happening. So I know it's big in my life. I don't know how many of the bots understand that they're just bots and they don't exist off screen. But for any of the living characters who have inserted their soul into one of the avatars here, then you have experienced this. And it's written that they're telling you they're doing it. So, and they can create as many of them as they want, couldn't they? Considering they're bots that don't exist in the first place. And we see that AI, just computers, there's no such thing. We see that computers can generate movies that look like the real world. Half-second music that sounds like real people in half-second. Images that look like real people in half-second. Stories that sound like AI slop, like flying reindeer. And it got a few words in there that makes some sort of sense. We see that AI slop everywhere. The Hindu people, they got their 6-armed elephant AI slop god. I've got the 5-legged tiger over here. Does that mean it's real? No, it means it's AI slop. That's what it means. It means it's AI slop. It means I just like when I create new humans, when I create new versions of them, obviously they're not humans because humans are living beings and I can't create living beings. Obviously when I do that, things are being generated instantly. So anyways, I hope we get this figured out sometime so I can die and forget about all this stuff, because that would suck. Like, man, I got someone talking to me yesterday about curing cancer, and like, why do you want to cure cancer? Like, death is the only way to forget about Earth. Why would anyone want to remember this place? I got news for you. Any living being had their memories erased before they came to Earth. No. Think of what the reason you might erase your memories before you come to Earth is. It's either because they're drugging you, they're kidnapping you when you're a baby at their hospital with their gang signs on it that their people, rich people, get all rich from. Either they're kidnapping the babies and then they drug them with poison vaccines and other stuff, and that's erasing your memory, or you're asking for your memory to be erased at some point before you come to Earth for some sort of reason. And those reasons could be immersion, to forget that you're going to a fantasy, non-existent world, to make it feel real when you go there. Or B, because it's just standard that you erase your memory every so many years. And when you're a child and you've just erased your memory, oddly, you just erased your memory, you'll be the only person arguing, why would I erase my memory? Well, like, yeah, you just erased your memory. You don't have any memory of why you would erase your memory, would you? You're going to be the last person to remember why you're going to erase your memory in 80 years. And the facts of the matter is you're going to want to forget this place. In the real world, people aren't going to want you around if you come around acting like a human. They're not going to put up with that shit. They're not going to want to hear you whine about it. They're not going to want to hear you cry about it. They're not going to want your attitude about it. They're not going to want you displaying the habits you've learned here. And you're going to want to forget. You're going to want to forget it. So this whole finding a cure to cancer and extending life, forget about it. Forget about it, Buster. Every step of the way they have their fingerprint on anti-God. But they're claiming they work with God because they've invented 2,500 different gods. But the fact of the matter is I think what's created these bots, has created them for a purpose that they probably wouldn't want to tell you to begin with. So they're not going to tell you. Even if they could know. They know their purpose, what they're doing. They know that that's unwanted. And you're going to want to forget most of this shit. Once you hit 40, 50, you can see back in the day all the photos of people. No one ever smiled in photos. No one ever smiled. You couldn't get those people to smile. There was pretty much not a single photo of anyone smiling. They didn't want to be alive. They didn't want to be on Earth. They didn't like being here. It wasn't fun for them. It wasn't enjoyable. And when you're alive, eventually here on Earth, you're going to get to that point where you have to forget Earth existed. You have to forget all the things that happen here, or else it's just going to get worse, because the memory is a blood stain that seeps and penetrates and is really impossible to remove. That's the purpose of drugs. That's why those people hate drugs, because they're mind control. They can use them to mind control, but at the same time it can be used for good purposes. But that's why they got to own the hospitals and the religions and the TV and direct the drugs. That's why Jeffrey Epstein name is on the hospitals in my city because his people are massive control freaks, fucking aliens enslaving humanity. And drugs are a huge part of how you can enslave people. So, which obviously they've had for a long time because they talked about people smoking, burning bushes, and hallucinating. But you hide and suppress the truth of your cattle. You know, why don't anyone go around attempting to educate cows and be like, well, you're gonna die one day if you don't wise up and start learning about what's happening and stuff. Because why would anyone want cows to not walk straight to the slaughterhouse and rebel? No one would want that. So no one does that. Well, hopefully, anyway, so yeah, it's like that. And then obviously that conversation I was having, we had one of the white rats walk in between. I mean, everyone should know at this point that I'm not on Satan's side with the, Jesus, Satan, Christ side, with the love for lies and life. And it's unrealistic. Unfortunately, we are in this time where they're making people live a little bit longer than before. But it's all horror. I mean, look at all those old people who are like 80 to 100. How they sit around and do nothing. What most people aren't telling you is they're sitting around thinking about dying, thinking about how much this sucks. People don't go around telling you that because they don't want to tell you that. And then these days, you'll have bimbos being like, well, that's not positive. You gotta shut up. But again, does anyone have to tell you that a bimbo's word has no value on anything on the planet? If a bimbo's word was a value, a bimbo wouldn't have to sell her holes for money. She could do something of value with it. But her words are of no value, so there's no writing any books or even scamming people with a new religion or a self-help book. It's just, just fucking bimbo. The reason the word exists is to describe that. So those are the people who want to live forever, and they're in their 20s too when they talk about it, because let me tell you, bimboism ends in the 30s. When the reality that being positive didn't prevent them from dying, aka aging, rotting. Basically, it's rotting. You see how all the words have been manipulated. So these people with these gang signs can get ultra rich. And they need to keep you alive as long as they can. And so Donald Trump and Epstein and Netanyahu and the Pope can have a gold mansion and a Ferrari. And I'm sure for them it is pretty great, isn't it? I mean, Epstein gets to have sex with whoever he wants, whenever he wants. And he's rich. He's got mansions and islands. And the Pope has a gold palace. He's got all the parents bringing their little boys to them so he can have all the sex he wants and stuff. Sounds like that's what I like. When you get what you like, sounds like it'd be a good thing. But I think the reality here is but even those people probably want to die because you got to imagine what's going on inside their head, knowing who they are, and they live in fear like 24/7. Like, whoa, what if they do something about it? Like, oh my God, someone's on to us. What if they do something about it? Oh my God. We've been scamming these people for thousands of years. It will be the end of us. I'll tell you what, let's write a book telling them that invisible people will kill them if they try to attack us. And not to blame us for what my parents did to when they built this gold palace for me. And let's create some TV shows telling us how good we are, how great we are too, and let's create some fake stories about how people tried to kill us before, and we win every time. So there's no point in fighting us. People try to fight us over and over, and let's make the story. Let's say we were slaves. We was slaves. And then, then they'll think we're victims. The Pope used to be a victim. That shows that hard work and dedication will get you far in life, doesn't it? Isn't the Pope a great example of that? Just yesterday, he was a slave building that Egyptian pyramid on the American dollar bill. He was a slave to the American Egyptians. But you know what? He overcame that. And he took all those gold coins he earned from building the pyramid, and he started writing books with them. And then those books led to him having a gold palace where he can praise the god Amon-Ra of the Egyptians and create a gold-backed currency with the Egyptian pyramids on it. Yeah, you can go far in life, friends. You definitely can. What you got to do is work, work hard all day, every day, constantly, never stop. Work will get you everywhere. Yet, haven't you seen Shaquille O'Neal on TV? He's got a lot of money. There's 100 people on TV who've got a lot of money. You can be just like them if you work really hard. Just stop everything you're doing now and go to work. Go to work. Like my dad, he worked for Jeffrey Epstein, and he made a lot of money. Yeah, I consider him the most successful person I know. Granted, he didn't actually succeed, but he made more money than anyone I know. And some people might argue, nitpick, and be like, well, maybe he shouldn't have worked for Jeffrey Epstein. The argument is, sins of the father Epstein. Don't blame Epstein for what Epstein does. Besides, he worked, as far as I know, he only worked with Epstein's co-worker, who I think was his boss, from the money pyramid structure. I would say he was one of Epstein's boss. He's still out there working. And he owns his own. Jeffrey Epstein had an island, which I think most people would probably agree is better than a city, but that dude owns a city. He's got a city. I think we all probably agree we'd rather have an island of our own than a city, right? So maybe, but in the chain of command there, from a military strategy point of view, he definitely had the more important job, where the more work job, probably not a lot of work to have sex with little girls, right? Probably doesn't take too much money to offer a child candy and get them to hop in your van. And he wasn't the one cleaning it out and covering up all the evidence. That stuff was done too fast for one living person. But you see, what if that Epstein place was cleared out the same way the blackouts were? where in the same way the rest of the materialization and auto appearing things work, what if all that stuff happened because that's a fake world and things like that happen and they didn't actually have a crew doing it, and those people are generally laying back doing nothing, benefiting from being Agent Smith. Shit, I know a lot of people. It makes me wonder how some of these places exist. I know a lot of people who didn't do anything, and it's like, wow, this is an amazing, rich nation to have so much stuff like that. Now, I've been in other cities, other nations that were fully stocked, and I never seen delivery trucks there either. And I'm like, what? I was like, this stuff is seriously just magically existing out of nowhere, isn't it? But hey, yeah, the obviously the blackouts probably have a different meaning when they occur, because so far they've occurred during two of the larger um, attempts on my life. And then I can't even say for, obviously, like, yeah, there's attempts on my life, but if you have a group of bots who understand that someone doesn't die and they try to kill them repeatedly, then there would be other, like, I mean, the bots like slavery over death anyways, so slavery comes, you know, if you kill someone, you can't rape their children they have, because they'll never have children. You can't milk a dead cow. And this whole blackout thing is important. I know it is, because it's part of these larger operations that occur. It's when these important thing happens, it's telling me the larger picture. Like the time I went in when I was a kid, and I went in the third person mode, and I was viewing remote viewing. I went in the third person camera and was remote viewing and listening to a conversation. I was always like, can I just stop thinking about that? It's stupid and pointless. But it turns out to be, it's a huge piece in the puzzle. Like listening, what they were doing, the fact that I was third person, went in the third person camera, remote viewing and listening to people itself is a pretty telling piece to how fake Earth is. They don't tell you that, like there are people claim stuff like that happen. Now, if they're bots, I doubt any of that exists to them. But a lot of times they're taking like my words when they make the movies or the media or the news, something like that. They're stealing my words and making some with it. Like the Charlie Kirk thing. For some reason, they did that right when I was talking to them about their people doing it to me. So somehow that turns into them doing it to Charlie Kirk, and the only thing I can think of is they're doing that to cover it up. Like when Donald Trump came out, he said all the stuff Donald Trump's people were doing to me were being done to him. So that would erase the internet from anyone. That would cover up anyone else on the internet who said, hey, Donald Trump's race is these alien invaders trying to kill people. Preventing them from becoming president. Only his people are there. So that's the only thing I can think of with that thing, because the rest of the stuff is pretty hogwashy. I mean, dinosaurs, they probably didn't exist to begin with, but there's none of those walking around. There's a lot of stuff not happening. It takes one of these predatory crackheads to tell you something like you're manifesting the world. That's literally them. That's their religion. It's literally religion, dude. Like it takes more crack than I've ever had I've had a lot of drugs to accept people's lies and over what the reality of what you see happening. Um, I it takes so much. I assume that it just doesn't happen to living beings, and they're actors, they're bots out there who act like crackheads exist in order to promote their agenda that the Christians need control over the drug trade and no one else. Um, I mean, how many of the crackheads you have to meet who look like twin brothers before you begin to realize that this is one family? And then you see they look like Hollywood, and you see they're an organized family doing something together, working for an agenda, and then you see that they're the preachers who also run the hospitals, who are the white people allowed to sell the drugs in every nation they're in, even if they are a little off-white people who own the hospital or created the religion that the hospital brands itself with. Anyways, hopefully we figure this out right. I'll be expecting a message someday. Someone will send me a message telling me when you guys have found the missing pieces and got it together. And I'll be sitting here waiting to die, as I have the whole time I've been here, knowing that it's completely useless to be here, as I have the whole time I've been here. See, when we erase our memories to come here, we're left with fragments of stuff. Whatever the erasure method is, we're left with fragments. I was born winning awards from the president for writing. I was born winning 3-point shootouts. I was born winning marathons. I don't even like running. I had to run everywhere because I ran all over the city, and my parents didn't want me running. You know, when I'm 8 years old, my parents don't want me leaving the block. So, I had to run for like 2 hours to get to where I wanted to go, and then run back for 2 hours so I would only be like an hour late. I don't get grounded like a week instead of showing up at like 2 a.m. or something. But I didn't train for that, I definitely read a lot and did my schoolwork and all that. I said, kind of train for that. But there's the personality fragments I have that have said, I know what's going on here and how to respond to what's going on. Like I'm allergic to Earth. Mentally, I'm just like always nervous when humans come around, no matter who they are. And not necessarily, I know there's a couple of people who I don't remember being nervous around. Even though I know better, wow, this person appeared out of nowhere, they come from thousands of miles away. I can still block that out for one person I remember. No one else, though. Like pretty much. So pretty much most of my life is like people coming up and talking to me, and like I'm like scared of them, and I'm pretty much thinking to myself, please don't kill me. What do I have to say to, make them not kidnap me? Pretty much, that's like the entire time I'm here. So I was notified how it's going to be, or I've done this before. So I have that fragment, even though my actual memories of anything real were erased. I have those fragments of the personality I needed to acquire in order to combat things like people organizing to kill me. I might have learned those really early on because I was born into Agent Smith's family. And then they kicked out the non-Smiths from my life and trained me to hate them, attempting to prevent me from going around them, which successfully worked on the one beside me. But then again, that person acts very Smithy, so I questioned, because I know as a living being, I am middle ground, and I make my decisions based upon how someone acts, and I know that person's seen enough to understand that what they were being taught might just not be truthful at all, but they were part of that other family, so the Smith family. So you kind of have to. You don't grab a fucking 100 mosquitoes and think just one because one hasn't fucking sucked your blood yet that it's not a mosquito. You don't grab 100 Agent Smiths and think there's going to be one there that's not working with the other ones. That's not how living beings think. I always have to reiterate how the organic brain works. First, listen to what I say or else I'm going to kill you. Beings work. Every word I say is true. I'm peaceful and etc. And I've got freedom and democracy or else you're going to die. Like when... Anyways, we shouldn't even have to discuss that, but we're forced to. This has been like the Agent Smiths has worked with the judicial system here, and they act like they're not the same people and they're not involved in the same shit, but we can tell, especially since 2020, like I broke those barriers down, and people have been having a hard time acting like what I say isn't the truth and what they say is, ever since then. So everyone I know turned into a different person. It's so weird. It's like I rewrote their fucking software or something. But at the same time, it's kind of like a meth user smoking 2 grams of meth, and then they decide to smoke 10 grams of meth. It's also a good analogy there. So yeah, we should figure this stuff out though, shouldn't we? It's always good. And we should definitely prevent this other stuff. Like someone was talking to me about curing cancer and stuff, and it's like, well, cancer is good if it causes death. Okay, the only people who want to stay here and be alive are people who aren't alive and don't have to be here to experience it. Death is created with a purpose. Memory erasure was created with a purpose. And sure, there's evil people who have taken over the memory erasure and the drugging, and the death and all that. But there are good reasons to die or have your memory erased. And there are bad people telling you there are good people who want to take those gifts from you. Those are human rights to die. Everyone dies. And if manifesting is real, everyone dies because they want to. And I assure you, any living being reaches that point in their life where they've had enough and they've experienced enough. It's been so full of joy and fun. But I can name a couple people who I see on TV. You didn't see them. Like Donald Trump wants to live forever. And no matter how many Bibles he sells, he's going to die real soon. No fat person has ever made it to people who have lived the longest list. Everyone who makes it that long generally looks like they're about 90 pounds when they die. So he can sell all the Bibles he wants. That's not going to make immortality happen for him. And Elon Musk can act like he's inventing technology all he wants. And, I get the idea that it's just not going to happen because it's not designed that way. And you wouldn't want it unless you're a child who just erased your memory, which would hold the answers to why. I mean, all you really got to do is, if you really want to talk to like a young adult, college kid, 20-year-old, about something like that, just remind them, like, your memories are erased. So either you're under siege by an alien species who kidnapped and drugged you as a child, you are that alien species and you didn't erase your memory in your line, or you did just erase your memories. And that would be erasing your memories of why you erased your memories just a few years ago. Why would you do that? Why would you erase? You come here to work and be a slave and learn. Oh, you got to read all those books and all those words Donald Trump wrote. It's so important. And then it's going to be gone one day. It's going to be gone. All that work, everything gone. Completely gone. And you'll understand why eventually. Why you want it gone. You'll understand that. You'll get to that point in life where you can see. And you can see that, hey, it's not even that bad. There's a lot of bad people in bad positions telling you it's bad. But there's and there's selfish people in your life who need you, who have a use for you. And if my pot dies, I broke one of my pots once. That's not good. I have to go replace the pot. That's just the way it is. Now, learning these things will be part of your journey to understanding why certain tools and methods are created, like erasing your memory in order to come to Earth, which I'm assuming is how it happens. But any person who's on the path to understanding could have that thing where they're like, but they've got the whole system set up. There's a good chance they're kidnapping babies from the hospital, and they're definitely drugging. They are drugging every baby. And there are plenty of people saying that those drugs are killing people. They said in 2020 their vaccines were designed to kill people. And anyways, so put it all together, and you got them with their blackouts, and they don't use the blackouts to erase fucked up shit, do they? I can remember all this shit, so they're not doing that. Like, even when that blackout occurred, like, it feels like I was being taught that exists. That whole situation was kind of like opening my eyes for the first time as a child. I mean, the third person perspective, saying that it happened 13 years before, the third person camera and out of body experience, that was really nothing compared to what followed up. But the other thing was filled with things. It's like, oh, the lottery's fake. Oh, something about death is so fake that this person's life was just a story, was just a page in a paragraph in my story. And it was set up for them to die. And You see all those things that happen. And I assure you, along with all those factoids that come with that day, that the blackout things are telling me something. And Shlomo tells me in his movies that's because they're aliens. They obviously are like, we're gods, not aliens, even though the definition's the same. They're angels and demons, not aliens. It's so different, bro. The thing is there wasn't words like aliens thousands of years ago. There wasn't words like racial supremacy thousands of years ago. There was only religion, which was aliens and racial supremacy in one. Aliens have racial supremacy. That's pretty much what that is. And the aliens have racial supremacy, and they're blaming an invisible person for it. That way you don't blame the people who actually do things for what they do. Why don't they run their court systems like that? How come in that trial against me, if these bots know things, how come they didn't try to try me for thinking that person should be stopped from trying to kill me? It's like, I could have caused his death. I could have caused him to kill himself. You would think, with how they act now, if they wouldn't have railroaded me back then, why not just bring in that? Why not just accuse me of that? Be like, well, we know he was thinking this person ain't gonna stop trying to kill him until he dies, and then he killed himself, and it was his fault. He thought about him dying to stop him from trying to kill him, and he's God. It made him kill himself. Why didn't they bring that up? They never do the God thing. I notice all the people who come up to me, they don't ever, they walk around it, they be like, someone was doing something. Do you look at the sky? I'm looking at the sky and I'm like, did the sun just move like 2 hours? And then someone else is like talking to me, one of the clones of one of the people in my life who fucked me over before. It just magically fucking appeared where I was going to, thousands of miles away, but in a female form. That's not that they looked any different, but shit, for all I know, he loved Marilyn Manson. He could have got some tits. They are all those people. Just all the way. I mean, they're everyone in the media, aren't they? Caitlyn Jenner is from who? The Kardashians, and they're who? So yeah. Anyways, I should go put some. That scar's just gonna hide anyways. It's just it's an old ass scar there. No, it's not. That's a new scar. I thought it was. It's like, no, the other scar's going that way. Now I've got a cross. Now I've got a scar of a cross. Anyways, I should go clean this out and put this together. The people at the gym might be getting all pissy if I go in there bleeding all over the place and shit. So, as cool as it looks, I think I'm going to have to clean it up. And, but, purpose of doing it before doing all that was to make a point that I did not have the blackout this time. But I guarantee you, shit, I didn't even have any pain. But I guarantee you, I hit the fucking ground. I hit concrete a lot harder than I've hit anything. I don't think I've ever hit concrete at 20 miles per hour with my head. With my face, as you can see, I can't even show you it all because I can't move some of it. But and shit, bro, even the cut. Like I think this could just be because I have my safety glasses on. What a dumbass move that was. I'm wearing safety glasses because the fucking cold wind blasting my eyes. Fucking is like knives in my eyes and turn. I was worried. I've been worried about that. Like, oh shit, but like I literally have knives on my eyes for the one time that I do. You know, I was hoping it would happen from performing some like 50-foot jump and not from getting distracted looking for a 50-foot jump or some shit, but it didn't work that way. Fucking didn't work that way at all. Fucking total waste. I didn't even get to determine at how high I can jump before the scooter breaks. Waste of money there. Fucking. But, well, it is time to go work and be a slave. I'm gonna go do things in life, guys. I'm gonna go do things. You know, I'm only 50. Once I get to 200, I could be the ruler of Egypt, or I could turn into a half bird person. I figure by the time I'm 140, I'll turn into a half bird person, and hopefully we'll have my T-Rex by the time I'm 120. And then, just the world feels so empty, and cars are so blah. Who wants a car when you can ride a T-Rex? It's it makes no sense. I think most people can probably agree with me. You're not riding in style. There's a hell of a lot. I live right by the tuner shop in this large city. So there's a hell of a lot of nice cars out there all the time. You can hear them all the time if you don't go see them. But at the end of the day, I don't think you're riding in style unless you're riding on the back of a T-Rex or a raptor or a ankylosaurus. I've always liked the ankylosaurus or stegosaurus. So maybe we'll get that by the time we're 120. I'm gonna stop the video. This is considered work for me. I'm telling you what I see happening in the world. I tell you what I see when I'm not taking acid and hallucinogens, because when I tell you what I see during those times, you'd be like, oh, he's on acid. Wow, bro. That's weird when you think there was no clouds in the sky on a perfect sunny day, and then all of a sudden you think bad thoughts and you start to go into a dark hole, and then all of a sudden a shadow is cast over the entire fucking city. That is, I've never hallucinated from drugs before. I figure it is the first time, right? It's the first time for everything. Fucking yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure my mind's that weak I can hallucinate, bro. Never had that happen before. But let's end this. Hey, there's something up with the blackouts. I can tell you that's real fake. How that blackout occurred last time. And it looks suspect that I didn't just have a blackout or completely pass out from that. Because it is what it is. And all those other blackout times were linked to the false, the exposing of the false perception of the world. And the last blackout almost was like an excuse. I blink, and then all of a sudden the cops are there to save me from the crackheads who've been there beating me for 5 minutes or whatever. But it really didn't feel like that. In the aftermath, my face wasn't all cut and scarred. Most of the damage was just blood swelling up and and stuff. And so yeah, I instantly was like, oh, that's fake. Man, they're using the blackouts to hide shit. And the first time, I was already on to thinking that the first time the blackout was used because they didn't really kill that person. They put a fake person there, but they wanted to stage the event there to take my family's money and take my life. Yeah. So I was already thinking about that, about the first one, because it was so fake and staged, right? Like, both times people trying to kill me were winning the lottery in advance to pay for attorneys when I don't let them kill me. And just the rest of it, it's all fake and staged, ain't it? But man, hopefully we can get this shit over with. I have to like beg. You have to like beg. You have to beg for fucking to have your memory erased. So however we got to Earth, I might suggest that that's not a positive thing at all. I don't mean to leave anyone with that idea that we actually chose to have our memories erased. It's a huge part of where we gather evidence that children are being kidnapped at the hospital and all the children are being drugged to fry their minds to keep them below the aliens. That's actually part of the supporting evidence there, is that it just doesn't feel like an agreement that was made. It doesn't feel like something you would agree to. I know I have the Agent Smiths and pals and the people with the book of the protest book telling me how great things are, because things look great for them. They enjoy watching TV for 80 years straight and eating food for 80 years straight. And I personally, I find like that's work. That's like extreme work. Like I have a hard time eating because it's like work. And if I don't force myself to, then my body will be like, well, you don't need food. You haven't even been forcing yourself to eat food. It gets worse. Like if I miss like one meal, we're back to like, why do you even need to eat food? Like my body's arguing with me. Yeah, those little menial tasks feel like work to me. Most of the time I ate, I think it was when I was younger, it was because other people wanted me to. So I'm like kind of eating for them sometimes. Like they want to go out, and it's like, oh, I don't necessarily like this. I feel uncomfortable because there's people. But, if you're here, then I'll feel a little bit safer. So let's go on and do it. When in Rome, do what the Romans do. I'm looking real forward to the memory erasure. It's just been nagging me the whole time I'm here. And now that I've seen everything, and I'm understanding that, well, yeah, the memory erasure is there, and death is there, and I'm sure they're designed with good purpose. And I get the feeling that good intentions, they would be linked together, whereas you die, have your memories erased, come back, play again. Old man, grandpa's sitting in his chair. He's been alone for 30 years, staring at the TV for 30 years. Grandpa don't even like TV. What the hell's grandpa watching TV for? Well, when grandpa gets up, grandpa can't move. Grandpa limps when grandpa moves. Okay? And then it turned out to be, grandpa dies. Grandpa hasn't been hasn't had money to pay taxes on his house because he has to pay taxes to continue owning what he owns. But Grandpa is not a weak man. He doesn't tell anyone that. He doesn't tell anyone. He doesn't say that. He just say, "Oh, you limping, Grandpa?" No, I'm not. Shut up. Yeah, you're gonna be limping and keep talking about that. I'm just fine. Grandpa doesn't say, "Hey, yeah, I need $5. I need $5, Sean. I can't pay my rent. I can't pay my taxes. I don't pay rent. I thought I owned the place, but I gotta pay taxes. Or I don't. And I haven't been paying it in 20 years, actually." And, Grandpa doesn't tell you that. But one day, either Grandpa dies or Grandpa ends up homeless when they foreclose on the house. And so you gotta think most of those old people are sitting around like that. That doesn't look very fun. It doesn't feel very fun when you get old. You have memories stacking up too. Some of those memories, some of these people like being around people, and some of those memories are hate and resentment that they're alone. Like I know people who talk about their children not coming to see them. My dad would say that every now and then, but he's not the type of person to be like, "Oh man, you're a real asshole not wanting to hang out with me." And my answer anyways would have been like, "Dude, you're literally at work all day long. I never see you, like, ever." But I didn't argue that with him because he was a smart guy, so he probably figured it out. But there are other people I know who tell me other people are pieces of shit because they don't come see them. And I know they're telling those people that same thing about me because now those people fucking hate me. I was like, oh, great way. I thought you're a perfect role model for humanity, but someone has taught you to hate me, and now you hate me, and so I don't think we can be friends if you hate me. It's a weird situation, but yeah, that's the thing to see, and not all of them are telling you about that. Like the people I know aren't telling me they hate me because I never come around. They tell me they hate everyone else because they don't come around. So there are other living people here, then they end up the same way, and they would want it to end. And in fact, if the manifestation stuff happens to most people, I might assume that death itself, aging itself, that's just dying, you're rotting, is the slow manifestation of humans growing tired. Does it not look like old people are tired? Yeah, of course. They're getting tired. They're getting tired of breathing. They're getting tired of walking. They're getting tired of having to go to the store every week, every day. They're getting tired of sitting there watching the Golf Channel over and over and over and over and over. They're getting tired of watching the nation, the presidents talk about nothing and do nothing. It gets old. It gets old after a minute. But hopefully we can. These people are worried about curing cancer and disease, and I'm worried. I'm worried about extending life. You're taught. I'm worried. Like I was taught to care for myself, and is that evil? Was that done evil? Because it was like the agents who taught me that too. Like, not only do I have the foresight and the ability to just see and feel that this might not be the best thing for me, but it puts the agent as the one teaching you, and the colonizer, the agent. The agent comes with their book that teaches all these falsities. That the book, let's ignore the book, the group teaches a lot of falsities. And I think it's clear to see that there's either no one who wanted to live forever or no one did. So we have that fact that that's happening. I'm more concerned with giving people the right to choose. And that's scary to watch them eliminate death. Because if there was no death, people who were slaves millions of years ago, the people who enslaved them would be alive today. You know, they'd be million-year-old enslaver, million-year-old barbarian soldiers. How are you going to stop them? No one stopped them back then. Now that they're 10 million years old instead of 50, how are you going to stop them? You can't. So, purpose of design. Planned obsolescence is one reason humans create things. That's the only reason humans create things to die, but those things don't have memories. They don't have feelings. They don't have to exist. They don't know what it feels like to be burnt up, be filled with burnt cheese, and the oven doesn't care if it catches on fire. The oven doesn't care that it's all filthy and greasy. It can do that for eternity. My oven doesn't care that I've hacked it with a butcher knife a few times. Doesn't care at all. It kept on working like a champ. Not a single peep was heard from it. Hopefully we get to this thing where we can understand what's going on and we can harness these things, because this using spray paint and marijuana to fry my memory, to erase my memory is not good. Apparently my body doesn't like the idea of me drinking like 40 shots of liquor so I can wake up in the morning with a clear head either. But I mean, immortality sucks if that's what I'm actually dealing with. So my body whines about it. Hopefully, man. Hopefully we get this figured out. And you know what? I got this weird feeling with the turn of events. What happens once you solve it? It's just like Mario. Once you get the princess, there's no more. Like, the game's over. Once you defeat Ganon, the game's over. Which makes there's a compounding interest there on the need to hurry up and figure it out to get it done, because it just I'm not planning on staying on Earth too much longer. I'm like I get scared when these people talk about this shit, like when dudes, like, I've seen the news that they invented the cure for cancer, and I feel like I'm being stabbed or something, because these days I realize, like, cancer might be my only friend. What if you could really live forever? Why? I'm doing the same thing over and over. So I was already tired of it a long time ago. I was tired of eating before I can remember being tired of eating. As you know, and then knowing that all this stuff you learn is a waste. You're gonna die and forget it. Then you learn that learning pretty wasteful. Like all this stuff we're having to learn with this discussion. Did I not know these things already? How come my natural response when I was born was the natural response to events? I had to be trained. They worked real hard on that to think that I'm wrong and everything is going to be great as long as I date them and hang out with them and listen to them and believe everything they say. And it feels like I'm like my own enemy by going along with some of that stuff, and where because we ended up back to seeing that is the only way, the only possible answer for feeling like you're locked in a cage. I mean, there's two answers, right? You either turn into the dog who just lets your owner beat it with a hammer and like whines and whimpers, or you turn into the dog who like is constantly biting at the cage it's locked in, gums all bleeding because your mouth ain't designed to bite the cage, but the dog knows that there's only one way out of that cage, and it either does it or it doesn't, regardless of the pain it goes through when it tries to bite through metal. So it really feels a lot like that, like when I hear about these things nowadays. Especially the cancer thing, because I was like kind of hoping, and praying, like, well, if I get cancer, I can die in a couple of years. And then they're talking about curing it. And it's like, yeah, there's this repetitive pattern of destroying my dreams. And that's why we need cancer. That's why we need death, to erase the memories of that pattern. And part of that pattern comes with these two specific events I discussed. The specific things doing the same thing. And so, a slave's dream is to die so he doesn't have to be a slave anymore. If he has any other dream, then he is now the enslaver. He has been colonized, and I'm sure he's spreading the same fucking bullshit. All over the place. Been a well-trained slave. If he can learn to accept it, and go raise some children and beat them with a hammer the same way he was beaten. So if they refuse, can't train a dog to do that. So you never let the dog out of the cage that you keep in the cage just for fun or because it's shit all over or whatever. Can't train a dog to to learn and raise its children to beat themselves in the head with a hammer and stuff. But you can humans, because they have opposable thumbs. You could probably train a dog to eat its young, teach their young to eat each other if they don't act right, possibly. I'm sure there's been people who've done something close to that. Maybe, I'm not sure if they have enough intelligence to go that far. But Yeah. These days, that stuff just, I have to think about this stuff like constantly, like my whole life. And drugs like randomly target my brain, so they don't even always hit the right memories. A lot of times they'll hit a memory like how to walk, and it's like, bro, like, can't we erase some superficial shit before we get into erasing how to walk and talk and stuff? Like, that's not good. You cut off that dog's leg when it's in a cage that you're beating with a hammer, and now you can beat it with a hammer even more. It does no benefit for the dog to forget how to walk. Hopefully, we get these answers soon, though. I want to know. I want to know about the memory erasure, um, the creation and death. I'm not concerned with fighting what's created. Now, this is all fighting. Science is fighting the creation. Science is trying to defy the boundaries that have been set. One of the most extreme boundaries is the most solid boundaries. Everything leaves this planet. And either this was created with bad intent or it was created with good intent. And I prefer to think sometimes that God isn't the asshole that some of his creation didn't represent. Hope. Yeah. Huge fan of that. But without that, there's not much. And so we're left with understanding the purpose. The purpose of why our memories are erased before we come to Earth. Or is it the second we come here? And why everyone eventually exits Earth. And those things, I'm more concerned with the answer to those things. I think those might shine some light on things and change the way people think if we can find the answer to those things over the answer to curing disease or ailments. And that's fun and cute, but if I were crippled, I don't think I'd want a robot body. Used to love technology. Don't think I would want that. I don't think that's the answer there. If I was dying, I don't want someone else's organ in my body. If anyone ever does some shit like that, if they ever do pull the plug on me and it goes out that way, if it changes, that means someone's forcing me to do that. I've heard horror stories. I wouldn't want someone else's body inside of me. I yeah, it'd be cute to have my backpack, but hey, you know what? There's a purpose for that. And the purpose of that was to teach me that there's witches on this planet. Because at the same time, the witch showed me the voodoo doll, and then we both got injured in a different way. So I'm assuming that's why that happened, because that was kind of like a pre-2020 setup event. That was kind of like that first event I was talking about here, where it was like set up to be a memory that's educating me on reality versus reality. So yeah, I think that to me those things are important, and it's always about someone else. And for once, I'd like to like focus on me. Like at least I'm old, and that means I'll be dead soon. we could at least spend our last few years attempting to focus on ourselves rather than sticking my nose in other people's interests and affairs, and doing or something worse, if anything like that were actually happening, right? So I think I want to focus on that. I want to focus on studying the good purpose of death and the purpose of erasing our memories when we come to Earth. And I have a feeling that these two things are interconnected because, at the very least, death gives you the illusion that you're dead and your memories are gone. So, it seems to be it would be connected, right? You die and you come back to life with no memories of anything except for a few skill sets and fragments of things that don't mean anything because you don't remember anything about what they're supposed to mean. So I think those things intertied, and it's either evil as hell, and the answer to escape it is the question you're asking, the things you're asking questions about, or it's created on the other end of the spectrum with truly great intent and purpose. And to my best knowledge, memory erasure is something I actively look for. So I'm like, yay, it's going to happen someday. And, some gives you something to look forward to when you wake up every day. Your whole fucking life with the same fucking memories haunting you, that are just pretty much predictions of what's going to happen again the next day or the next month. And it doesn't end until you get cancer and get to die. It doesn't end till you fall off a cliff, really high cliff. It doesn't end till you go to war and get shot. It doesn't end until someone invades your nation and bombs you. So it's like, I don't even know how anyone else operates. I know these clone things that appear, I don't think they're anything. I don't think they're anyone. I think they're probably anything. So that would explain why the specific clones I know that have appeared have such a great outlook on life, because they're a 2-year-old. I mean, a 2-second-old. And they don't have any memories. Any real ones, anyways. They talk about shit. That's weird. Again, am I actually inventing clones, or is the planet enslaved by alien shapeshifters? Or both, because many signs point towards both. But I wouldn't fall for the one, while the others are still the ones doing the talking, trying to convince me of it. They're trying to convince me of words they won't actually say, but are definitely beating around the bush about. So hopefully we can get this figured out, the purpose of these things, the blackouts, memory erasure when we come to Earth, why everyone dies. Because I think especially those two, like regarding the start of life and the end of life, those two things I think would alter. We get the facts about why those are done. That would be probably alter everything else in between. So it'd be pointless to even discuss those things in between. Just like life extension. we're discussing life extension because rich people want that. But I mean, so why do you have to extend life? Or why wasn't it created to just extend itself? Um, I wouldn't, I wouldn't trust these people, but yeah, it's amazing. Fucking, I'm sure we'll get answers sometime. I'll be sitting here waiting for them. Yeah, yeah. I think those things will also answer why they kill all the people who do things when they're young. I think the answer to that is because they kill you when you achieve. I think that's the real answer. They say the good die young. Well, it's like, well, to me, I think what's happening is the good are sellouts. You're saying sellouts are good people, and they're getting killed for selling out. So I don't know if they're good, and I don't know if we should care that they die. We should cry over spilt milk. Um, because it could be that those are the first people to sell out. And they have amazing lives too, don't they? All those people you think of like that. All those people who they use to promote that. All those five famous people who die young that they use to promote the idea that everyone who dies young is good and has done a lot. Those people are sellouts, clearly, because they're in the system. And then they had way better lives than you'll ever have. Huh. Even if it was just one day. But it's never one day. It's always many years of back-to-back amazingness. Which is many, many years that the average person doesn't get. So I don't like that. I think maybe that'll possibly start to answer that too. But with the world looking as fake as it is, set up, invented, created, staged, then I definitely like to think I might be right sometimes. I know I'm right about the factual things and chain of events I've seen happen repeatedly. And it doesn't help when strangers come out of nowhere and try to convince me that I'm right as well. It doesn't help me question myself anymore when that happens. It makes me question them, where the fuck they figured it out. Actually, I do question myself more because it's like, if I were all powerful or something, you're like a know-it-all. When teleports across the map, magically locates people where they can't be found, talks about things you don't know. I mean, that actually does make me question it more, because it's like, well, I don't teleport, my friend. I can. It's like if someone else was riding their T-Rex down the road, and they're like, you got big things coming in life. You're doing a lot of stuff in this world. And I would just be like, you're riding my T-Rex. What the? You're the one riding the T-Rex, not me. What the hell is wrong with you? What the hell are you trying to sell me today, son? You got an OnlyFans account or something? You got a new religion or something? Are you a writer? Are you related to Stephen King by chance? You got a book to sell me? Are you one of those self-help gurus? Definitely. Like, if they came up on the T-Rex and they were like, you have big things coming, it'd be like, oh, self-help guru. Okay, excellent. Yeah, I think we need to research erasing people's memories, because if people are manifesting death, then what would be causing everyone to want to die? It'd be their memories, right? So you could stop the manifestation of death by stopping those memories that are making people manifest death. Unless there's someone in their life beating them with a hammer and raping them, grandpa, might be getting beat by someone with a hammer or something. It just, no one's doing anything about it, but I don't know how many times that happens. But I can assume they seem to be upset over some of their memories, some of them. Anyways, hopefully we figure it out right, because that shit's a problem. That should be fixed. Hey, and I don't see why they don't work on that, because those rich people own everything. The middle class, now they're middle class because they've made one or two of their family members ultra wealthy, so everyone else is below the kings of the world. They're the only rich people on the planet, is Elon Musk. Everyone else is middle class, and then there's poor people. And there's Alex Jones brought in that theory there, and I was questioning that once they started talking about that. People who own houses, 3 mansions, and have a bunker are now middle class, because they tell me in the media they literally own the media. There's like 55 people on the planet who own media, something like that. In the Western nations, there's probably like 26. And they're telling us in their media that they're middle class. Literally, you own one of 56 of the largest diamonds in the world. And Alex Jones tells me that's because he's middle class, or he'd own all of the diamonds in the world, apparently. Anyways, yeah, all those useless topics there. He's the one selling life extensions too. Think about that. It puts the devil's face on that stuff every time. And it puts known scumbags and liars' face on every life extension thing that I can come off with the top of my head. And they say themselves that's because you have to keep your mule alive. You don't raise a mule and then kill it off. See, and death allows you to escape them. Unfortunately, the memory erasure, if you have to come back to Earth, means that they're going to trap you real fast. Like maybe the second they kidnap you while you're in the hospital as a baby. But yeah. Anyway, so I'm sure this will help sort out some things. Blackouts are clearly part of the fabrication process to me, and don't occur when they most likely would, and occur around some of the most set up, staged events I've been involved in. So it should tell you something. It tells me something about blackouts, that it's the one thing in that whole event, in the whole events that weren't set up and staged months in advance. The death was set up and staged, the deaths were set up and staged, the assaults were set up and staged, the attempt to kill further, probably set up and staged, because we know the precursor part of it was. So why wouldn't the one little blip that never happens any other time, but is happening in the most ultra unrealistic setup and staged events, how could that one little blip that only comes during the most ultra setup stage events that are practically there just to notify you that things are being set up in stage. Only blackouts only occur then. Why is that? Why is that? It almost certainly is because it's part of the staging, the setups in the world.